Wonderful morning this morning. Thank you for your patience this morning. Getting ready and getting here on the airwaves for you all around the country and the world. So happy to be here with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern time. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT is where you're watching and listening. And you are listening to worldwide internet streaming radio on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Appreciate you being on all of those channels. We got an awesome show set up for you. You know, Friday is our trio of signature segments. So inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we're going to start off the show, as we always do on a Friday, with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Then we'll jump into LEAD, the acronym that stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. That is proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Today's topic, be quick to listen and slow to speak. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. We'll get into that. Then we'll do the top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Kamp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And at 10:21 a.m. Eastern Time, I will air my special that I did this week with Brian Newberry, the head coach of the Navy Midshipmen, who have a 6-1 record and have been ranked in the nation's top 25 this season and are currently undefeated in the American Athletic Conference. So a lot of great stuff coming up here where sports meets life. Thanks for being with us. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. It's time for the annoying moment of the week.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. I always have fun bringing you this segment. And my annoying moment of the week for this week, well, I've been traveling a lot, so I have some thoughts about the traveling world. And one of the things that I think about when I travel are the armchair hogs. Those that are just taking up that armchair on the plane, the armchair hogs. Not a fan. Not a fan by any stretch of the imagination. So where do you sit with this? Because here's the thing. When you get on a plane, you don't know, right? I think all of us that get on a plane, most of us are hoping that nobody is sitting next to us. We're like, please nobody sit here. Please nobody sit here. Please nobody sit here. So, we get on the plane with that hope, right? That no one's going to be sitting right there in the seat that is next to us, so that we can stretch out, so we could sprawl out, so that we can have that arm rest all to ourselves. And sometimes it works out, and other times it doesn't. But sometimes when somebody sits down next to us, they are what I call the armchair hog. The one that just gets there and nobody's on the armchair right now, right? And you kind of I try to be nice. I try to put a little elbow on there, little space. Because the thing is, if I can't put my elbows down, I'm uncomfortable. So I got to put my elbow down a little bit. And then they just put their whole arm in there. And now you're sitting here thinking do I want to be touching this person the whole time down? So then you kind of try to be a little bit nicer and move it over here and move it over there. But you hope that they have to get something or have to move their arm for a second so you can repurpose yourself. Those armrests are so small on planes. They're so tiny. They're built for a newborn baby to put their elbow down. They're not built for anybody else to put their elbow down. And so it gets frustrating and it's tough. But there's, it's that common courtesy is what I'm really getting to. That courtesy of, let me understand that I'm on this plane. And planes are not the most comfortable place to be, right? Some people struggle to fall asleep, and some people, it's not an easy atmosphere to just be like, oh, this is fine, this is cool. I can fall asleep on a plane because my trick is I'm always tired. That's my trick. So I can fall asleep on a plane because I always need sleep. So I can do it, but it's not the most comfortable way to do it. And I understand that. But when you have that arm rest that you can share with somebody, I feel like there needs to be a conversation beforehand, because sometimes it's like whoever gets to the seat first, whoever sits down first in your aisle on the plane on your side, they're going to claim that armrest. And you come in. So sometimes you have that person that's already claimed it. Sometimes you have the person that's kind of claiming it that maybe didn't think about it. Then you get the person that's like, okay, you know what? I'll work with you. I'm not even going to say anything, but I'm going to work with you. But we don't usually have the conversation. And the conversation should be, hey, this is a tiny piece. This is a tiny, tiny piece of plastic. Let's just try to not touch elbows, but come at it in an angle. I don't know. But it's something that I think about in travel because it's not always comfortable to travel. Another annoying moment of the week that I would say would be that certain places make things differently. Like certain places don't make the same thing the same. What do I mean by that? Well, I've been going to a certain place that I'll leave unnamed because I really do like their stuff. So I've been going to this place, and it's a chain place. And when I go to their establishment in the airport, my chai is awesome. It's awesome. They put the foam on the top, and they put the cinnamon, pumpkin, whatever, the little topper there, shake it on there, and it's perfect. And then I went in New York City to this same establishment, but obviously a different location, and it wasn't the same. It didn't taste the same. It didn't have the right flavor. They didn't sprinkle the stuff on the top. So it didn't look the same, and it didn't taste the same. So then I said, okay, you know what? Let me try again. I'll come later in the day. Maybe the staff has changed. I'll give somebody else a shot. And it tasted almost exactly the same, which was almost exactly not how I wanted it to taste. Because I had been spoiled by the airport. And I just feel like you got to give. Now, people are going to make things a little bit differently, right? But when you have it that one way that you just love it. And some of us have those people, right? It's like, I know that Dolores on 3rd Street is always going to make it the way I want it made. So I'm going to go see Dolores, and if she is sick or she is on vacation, I might just not get my coffee today. Because Dolores on 3rd, she does it right. She knows me by name. She knows how to put it all together. She measures it all right. That's where I need to go, right? And that happens sometimes. There's restaurants where if the owner is there cooking, then I want to eat there. If he's not in the kitchen, then I feel like, well, the food's going to taste a little bit different. Not bad, but a little bit different. And that's an annoying moment for me because my chai in New York City costs $3 more. It's $6.45 or $6.25 here in Syracuse, and it's $9.21 or $14 or something like that. Weird change in New York City. So not only do I want it to taste like it tastes from the one that I go to in the airport, but it's got to be worth it because I'm paying that much money. I'm paying that much, right? So I want it to fit the bill. And we all have places that we like, right? We're creatures of habit. So you find a place where you like this breakfast sandwich and you get it on the way to work every day. Like I have a bagel place down in New York City. It's not the best bagels that I've ever had in my life, but it's like my bagel place right now because it's around where I needed to be for work on multiple occasions. So it just kind of fit. And, I would go in there consistently and be like, let me get this, let me try this, and give it a shot, right? Try to find your place. And I try to find my places where I go. If I'm going to be in this city, this like my tostadas, my hurtado, when I'm down, I talk about it on the show all the time. When I go down to Arlington, Dallas area in Texas, I'm going to Hurtado. That's what I want. When I go down to Florida and let's say I'm at Disney, I want to eat at Ohana. I want to eat at the Boma. I want to eat at, I'm trying to think of some places. I want to eat at Saltuli Canteen. I want to eat at Dixie Landing's food court. Like, there's places I want to go to that I just know and I like. And Dixie Landing's used to have breakfast pizza. And it was the first place that I ever tried breakfast pizza. And then one day they got rid of their breakfast pizza. And I think that they have one back now, but it's different. And sometimes Disney really cooks their bacon, which I like my bacon cooked. And sometimes it looks like it's moving. So, you got to kind of be like, hey, can I get some cooked bacon on there? This isn't cooked. I can see through it. It's not cooked. So, but your place, your spots, what you like. And so when you're not getting that, that can be an annoying moment of the week, because in your head, you're like, man, I just love this chai. I love this chai that this company makes. And then you go and you get it somewhere and you're like, ugh. You go get it in Connecticut and it's good. You get it in Delaware, it tastes different. You get it in Florida, it's pretty good. You get it in Nebraska and you're like, this doesn't even taste like the same company, right? So you want to have that consistency. And that's the thing about when a company grows, is consistency. You want to have consistency when you're making something. Because when I was working at Disney, I had to make the almonds and the pecans. And I had to make the vanilla, whatever the heck. I mean, I can't remember the exact name that they were called, but it was like the vanilla crusted. So it had that like vanilla and that like mapley taste to them. And I had to cook them. Well, not everybody cooks them the same that I cook them. There's like, this is how many minutes you should leave them on, this is what you should do, and this and that. But not everybody made them exactly the same way. So I like the way I make them, but then if I go buy them at Disney, somebody else might have cooked them a little bit longer or a little bit less than I typically did. So there's going to be like that little bit of a change, but you want it to taste good, especially for the money that we're paying now. And by the way, speaking of money, inflation has gotten to a point where when I pay my car insurance online and I do the quick pay online, when you just type in all your information, you do all the work and you send it. It used to be like, this is your bill, you paid it, it was done. Now when I pay that bill online, they charge me almost $4 to process it. So inflation has now made my car insurance company charge me to type in all my information and hit send. It's like an over $3 processing fee. Are there companies out there that have not punished the consumer for inflation? You know what I mean? Like, and it's not just the president of the United States. We need people at the local level to work on this and to care about us. Americans, when Americans suffer, the politicians should feel that suffering. They shouldn't be like, oh, well, thank God we're not here. We're going to go have a dinner party and laugh about all these poor people. They have an obligation serving in office to serve us. If they're not serving us, there's no reason for them to be in office. And that's reality. If you're not serving us, then who are you serving? Yourself. And if you're serving yourself, then you're serving no purpose in office. You're representing thousands and thousands of people, millions of people. So have the heart, have the morals, have the values, have the compass to remember who put you in office, and remember that you need to serve all the people, even the people that did not vote for you. You have to serve those people. And servant leadership, to me, is the only leadership. There is no dictator leadership. There's servant leadership. You must look to help the people. And it's funny how we want to call this person or that person a dictator, when the reality is everyone that is in office that is not serving the people is in the form of dictatorship. I'm serving myself. So there's a lot of dictators out there. And it makes me sad that we don't have, I mean, there are some people out there, but that we live in a country right now where inflation has become so outrageous. And if we think that they're not using us and abusing us and just kind of making this whatever they want to make it, why are gas prices down right now? Because we're close to the election. After the election, they'll do whatever they do. But they're down right now because of the election. When we've been sitting here going, wow, gas hasn't been $2.99 in years. Now all of a sudden gas is $2.99, $2.97, $2.80, $2 whatever. Why do you think that is? Because we're voting next week. That's why it's down. Eggs went up to almost $4 again. They're down to $2.15. Why? Because we're voting next week. So when they tell us, oh, supply and demand and inflation and, oh, the chickens got sick and, oh, the gas and we're fighting with Iran and blah, 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 it's all BS. I shouldn't say it's all BS. Maybe some of it's true, but there's a lot of BS to that. There's a lot of BS to that. Because why are the prices down right now? Why is inflation down right now? Because it's an election year. So those responsible for inflation are now going to tell you, look at what I've done. Look at how great I am. You know, keep me in office because look at what I did in this state. Look at what I did as you know, the VP, as the president, as this, as that, as the congressperson. If you're an American and you're not paying attention to the fact that we vote in less than a week, and some of you have already voted, and the inflation's down and the gas prices are down, and you don't find that to be more than a coincidence, then you're really not working with your brain. And that's an annoying moment for me because the American people deserve to not ever be lied to. And I mean, there's no one that deserves to be lied to in any country. And the people that represent you should be representing you. And I take my voting very seriously. I take my voting very, very seriously. It is not something that I just say, oh, that's what I'm doing, or that's what my friend's doing, or that's what my girlfriend's doing, and I'm just going to do that. I take my voting very, very seriously. And whether it is for the President of the United States or it's for, you know, city council, I am looking at those candidates. I'm trying to do my research to figure out who they are and what they're about and what they stand for. Because we think it's just the federal government that's going to be responsible for this, that, and the third. But the reality of it all is the states have a lot of power in certain areas, and local has a lot of power in certain areas. So if you're not thinking about your local comptroller and you're only thinking about who to vote for president, you're not really going at it the right way, because the people that are within your neighborhood, they're the ones that are affecting, like, does that mall get built? If that mall gets built, is it on the taxpayers or is it on somebody else, right? And so, I mean, there's people that are voting that are thinking, like, I don't want to have a big box store down the street from me. I like the fact that we're in farm country. I remember in Cicero years ago, they were fighting having a big department store put in their community. Some people wanted it and some people didn't. And it ended up getting built, but you go back and look at it and say, okay, did that really help the community? Did that raise up the community? Or the people that were fighting it, did it affect them? Did it affect their normal way of life? Has it affected things more negatively than positively? You know? So when you go out and vote, if you haven't already, and please only vote once. So, I mean, because that's just insane to me that there's any type of illegality to people that are voting. I mean, we should be a country that shows the rest of the world how to vote in a fair way, and somehow we've lost our way in that. But when you are voting, and God willing, every vote is by a living person and by a legal citizen and by someone who can identify themselves with an identification that is valid, I don't know why I would have to ask for any of those things, but, like, you know, when I was growing up, you had to have a valid identification. You had to prove that it was you. You had to be standing there so they knew that you were alive, and you had to sign your name. So, I mean, anything that's not like, I mean, I mean, if other countries were like that, I could fly to Italy and I could go vote in Italy for who I want to win in Italy. I mean, you know what I mean? There has to be rules and checks and balances. And I don't know why people are offended or even fighting about rules and checks and balances. If you don't have rules and checks and balances, you don't have anything. You have anarchy. And if you have anarchy, you're not living in a country that's safe. So whoever you're voting for and however you're voting, go out and vote, and please do your research, because my annoying moment of the week is that these people tell us all these wonderful things and they don't really live by it. There's parties that live on telling you that they're going to protect and save and do this, that, and the third, and then they don't end up doing it. They tell a certain group of people over and over and over again, we have your back. We have your back. We're going to fix your life. We're going to take care of you. And they never do. They just use those people. They use that community. And then they laugh in your face when they get elected into office, and then they don't want to hear from you when you ask them to do what they promised. And that's not fair. You know? Our politicians should be held accountable for the things that they promised and the things that they ran their campaign on. You know? And that's an annoying moment of the week for me, because we're so divided as a country. Instead of being focused as a nation, we the people should be focused on they who we vote in, because there's more of us the people than there is of them the politician. And if they're not doing their job and they're not doing what they promised, then we the people have a right to hold them accountable, instead of just accepting defeat and paying inflation and going through all this garbage. I'm not a person that thinks of just myself. I'm a person who thinks of everybody. And just because I can pay my mortgage doesn't mean somebody else can. And if they're doing everything in their power, they're not a deadbeat, they got a job, they're working overtime, they're doing everything that they can, I don't want to see them suffer any more than I would want them to see me suffer. So let's start holding people accountable for the things that they promised and the things that they said that they're going to do. Let's stop listening to what they say and start looking at what they do. Because there is not a person on the planet that is going to walk up to you and say, I'm a bad person. I want you to know I'm a bad person. And with that being said, can I have some money? Can I date you? Can I be your boss? Can I take care of your kids? Mostly everybody on this planet is going to tell you that they're a good person, tell you all the good things they do and all the good things they're going to do. But the actual good people are the ones that don't have to say anything. Their actions speak louder than their words, and you look at them and you go, oh my goodness, like, this person is wonderful. This person does what they say they're going to do. They act the way that they say they're going to act, and they're consistent. Those are the people you need to pay attention to. That's why I'm not a person that likes to listen to campaign ads and read campaign ads, because you're going to tell me what you're good at, and a lot of times you're going to tell me what your opponent's bad at. You realize that? The candidates don't even tell you what they're good at. They just tell you they hate the other person. What is that about? What are you going to do for this country? Well, let me tell you what they're not going to do. You know what that says to me? You have no value to me of what you're bringing. You have a value as a soul and a child of God. You have no value for me to vote for you. If you're running on the campaign of I hate that person and you should too, why would I vote for you? I don't care about who you hate. I care about good prices, safety, security, good education. I pray for a better world for my children that I, God willing, have someday. I'm not here to talk about who you hate. I'm here to talk about where we're at and where we can go. And that's why I told people, I'm not defined by a color. I'm not defined by an animal. I'm not defined by a party. I'm defined by my love for God. And my love for God affects how I treat people. It affects how I treat myself. Because my love for God and my belief in God and my knowledge that I came from my Creator, knowing that, not thinking that, but knowing that to be true, that knowledge and that wisdom at the basis of me, at the core of me, at the simplest form of me, puts me in a position where I'm going to call out things that don't make sense. like how gas prices go down right before an election, especially before a presidential election. So it's an annoying moment for me because it's unfair that the American people suffer. It's unfair that people in any country suffer. And it's unfair that the people that we vote into office take advantage of us, use us, and manipulate us just to stay in office. I want, by the grace of God, for everyone that wins an election on the local, state, and national level, and anywhere in this world, everyone that wins an election from here on out, or the overwhelming majority, is a believer in God, wants the best for everyone, has morals and values, leads with them, does the right thing all the time, not some of the time, does everything in their power. They're not going to be perfect, but that always tries to do the right thing, has a pure heart and good intentions, and that seeks to help people and seeks to understand people and seeks to give to people. That is my hope for every election out there, regardless of party, regardless of whatever, that we have good, God-loving, hardworking, moral, value-driven people that want to see everybody succeed. Not just people that are going to say a bunch of words and then get elected and then go hang out with their cronies and giggle and laugh and drink wine. That is not what I want. It's not good for us, and it's not what this country was built upon. We weren't built upon the bougie. We were built upon the really hardworking people. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and I respect them and I love them. And in order for me to carry on what they do, I have to stand up for what's right. So let's take an annoying moment and let's turn it into doing our research and on the local, state, and federal level, voting for people that we truly believe can make a difference. Because it's not just my future kids that I want to take care of. I want your future kids to be okay too. I want your current kids to be okay. Because if I'm going to love one of you, I'm going to love all of you. And if we're going to love this world, well, we need to take care of each other. And we need to vote in people that want to take care of each other. If they don't need to be there. With that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, bring you into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Big thanks to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. we prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and it is time for us to jump into Lead. Learn, Evolve, Adlib, and Deliver is the acronym, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. And today's topic, be quick to listen, slow to speak. And you say, well, Dan, you're a broadcaster. Yeah, so sometimes it's harder for me to learn this. Be quick to listen, slow to speak. Well, that sounds pretty self-explanatory, right? But how many of us do that? How many of us are quick to listen and slow to speak? A lot of people want to be heard, right? Especially in today's world. People screaming at the top of their lungs, not even knowing what they're yelling about. Quick to listen, slow to speak. Are you practicing this? And why is it important? Why is it important to be quick to listen but slow to speak? Well, you know what you think, right? You know how you feel. If all you do is talk to other people about what you feel and what you think and what's on your mind, how do you learn anything? How do you build relationships and how do you grow? If you just say, this is how I look at it, and I'm a culprit of this. When you have a conversation with somebody, do you cut and paste that conversation and bring it to somebody else and it's exactly the same? Like, are you in a conversation where you're speaking so much that it doesn't matter who you're talking to? Right? You could be talking to your mom, talking to your dad, talking to your friend, but you're just telling the same old story. You're telling the same story. Cut and paste. It's like, I'm going to tell you all this stuff and I'm going to say all this stuff. I'm going to tell you all this stuff. I'm going to say all this stuff. I'm going to tell you all this stuff and I'm going to say all this stuff. Are you listening? Are you taking a step back and are you hearing what they have to say? Because if not, you might as well just be talking to yourself, because what you're doing is you're calling all these people, you're talking with all these people, you're telling all these people the same story, but you're not hearing what they have to say. So you might as well be telling your mom or you might as well be telling a stranger. Value the relationships you have. If you're going to tell a story, if you're going to have a conversation, have a conversation. Make it special. Or else why talk to that person? Why call that person? Why be around that person? Right? If all you do is you're like, I just said everything that I was thinking and everything that I've been thinking about all day, I just said it to that person. Did you listen to what they had to say? I just called the next person, I said the same thing. And what does that value bring to that person? When you say, I just spent 2 hours on the phone talking with this person, then I go and I have the same conversation with somebody else. Did you even digest what that first person had to say? Did you listen? Because then you tell that person, well, I talked to my friend. You go and talk to your mom and you go, Ma, I talked to my friend and they said this, this, and this, and I feel so much better. And your mom goes, well, I said all those things to you 3 weeks ago. So now mom feels a little small. Why didn't he listen to me? Why didn't he listen to me? So be quick to listen, slow to speak. You know what you think. You know how you feel. But how are you ever supposed to know how somebody else thinks and how somebody else feels if you don't listen? What do they say? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that should be a sign to you of the ratio of how much you should listen versus speak. Some of us are afraid to talk, and some of us talk too much. And the balance of life comes with, when you get off the phone with someone, did you learn something? Did you ask them about their day? Did you ask them about their health? Did you ask them about something that's on their mind? You call them up and go, man, I need advice. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this with my job. Oh my goodness, I got to ask them. I got to ask them. I got to ask them. And you get on that phone and you talk about all your stuff, and they help you. And you go, okay, thanks. You don't ask them about their day. You don't ask them about their job. You don't ask them about their family. You don't ask them about their life. You went right to them. You got what you needed and you left. You might be worried about something. It may be very much on your mind, but are you talking to them about their life? Right? How are you feeling? How are you doing? Instead of just, I got what I needed, thanks. And when we are quick to listen and slow to speak, it doesn't mean don't speak. And it doesn't mean you can't speak a lot. It means learn something. Involve the other person. Show them that they are special and that you can't just copy and paste your conversation to somebody else. Because if you're having the same conversation with multiple people and you're not allowing them to talk, there's no special to that. You know? You might ask your mom and your dad advice on the same thing. But did you listen to it? Did you hear it? Whether you agree with it or not, did you hear it? Because you got to make, I'm a firm believer, you have to make your own choices in your life. You can ask the advice of your friends, you can ask the advice of a stranger, you can ask the advice of a boss or a peer or a neighbor, you can ask the advice of a family member, but you have to make your decision. When I started my company, I went to my mom, my dad, G Mama, and Floyd Little. That's who I talked to. But I didn't make the decision because Floyd. And Floyd didn't even know that I was like really at that crossroads when I initially talked to him about it. And I didn't make the decision because of my grandmother, and I didn't make the decision because of my dad, and I didn't make the decision because of my mom. But the thing is did I hear what they had to say? Or did I just walk into the conversation saying, I know my neck is so tight, my neck and my back, man. That's another annoying moment, right? When you can't get comfortable in the studio or when you're sitting and hanging out doing your thing. God help us to all get comfortable and help ourselves and not hurt ourselves. In Jesus' most precious name we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. When we look at life, do we hear what they have to say? Because you might not agree. Right? You may not agree. But do you hear it? Or are you just going into a conversation with your mind already made up? Okay, this is what I think and this is what I want. I'm going to call my mom. Hopefully she'll tell me that. No, you have to let a person be a person. And have their own energy and have their own being. But you have to make your decisions. You have to make your choices. It's hard to hear that when you're the one making the choice, but when you're not the one making the choice, that I feel like that's what a lot of people want people to do, is they want you to make your own mind up. Because then they know it comes from you. You know, and that would be my advice to anybody. My advice to anybody would be, you decide. Your mom can't decide, your dad can't decide, your brother can't decide, your sister can't decide. You have to decide. And you have to be okay with your decision. Because you never know. You know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen. But when I was making decisions in my life, and when I make decisions in my life, I think it's important to let your mom and your dad and your grandma, your grandpa, your brother, your sister, your kids, your friends, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your significant other, that you're listening and that you hear them and that you're quick to listen and slow to speak. Because one of the worst things that I have ever done is I interrupt people and I talk over people. I can't stand when I hear it. And then when I do it and I actually hear it, I'm like, ugh, I'm disgusted by it. Be quick to listen. Be slow to speak. That doesn't mean that your words don't matter. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a voice. It means that you should hear. If you're going to take time out of your life to talk to someone, have the decency to hear what they have to say. And you may agree with them and you may disagree with them, but be quick to listen and slow to speak. Because conversations are meant to go back and forth. They're not meant to be dominated by somebody. And I have had to learn that the hard way. I'll dominate a conversation and then be like, well, why are things not good? So take the time to value the other person. Let them know that they're special. Let them know that they matter. Let them know that. Or else they just feel like one of a dozen people that you've called to just say what you need to say out loud, but to not really hear anything from anybody else. And if you're going to just talk, what good does that do anybody? If you're going to just sit there and speak, what good does that do anybody? Right? You got to be willing to listen. You don't learn by simply just talking. Because you know what you know. And you know that you know what you know. How are you going to learn anything else if you don't open yourself up to hearing other people, hearing other things? Because you're not going to be right all the time. You're not going to make the best judgment. You're not going to always know all the information. But if you seek to listen and you seek to learn, you're going to know the truth. And sometimes it's staring you right in the face. You just have to sit and hear it. And when you hear it, you have to be okay with what you hear. You got to be okay with what you hear. You should never be afraid of the truth. Because a lie that makes you feel good is not better than truth that hurts you. But some people believe that. A lie that makes you feel good is not good. It's a lie. And lies fail. because they have nothing to stand on. And when they fail, oh man, I'd rather you lie to me than tell me the truth and hurt me. I would rather somebody tell me the truth, let it hurt, know it's real, and move on, than have somebody lie to me and I feel good and it's not true. So listen to what people have to say. Engage in conversation. To my mom, to my dad, to my friends, to anybody out there where I've spoken so much and said so many things and not really allowed you to live in the space or asked you how your day was, I'm sorry. And that's not going to happen again. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. Because you can have conversations with your mom every day. But have you learned anything about her? Or is she just learning about you? And in a give and take relationship, we can all be selfish at times because we all have things that we're worried about and things that we're working on and things that we're trying to accomplish. But do you ask your mom how her day is? Do you ask your mom how she's feeling? How her friends are doing? How she's holding up? Do you ask her about what makes her happy? What she aspires to do? What she'd love to do in her life? What her next goal is? Because it's important. So do the best you can to understand that, yes, we all have our problems. We all have our doubts. We all have our worries. We all have our concerns. And we can talk about them. And we should surround ourselves with people that we feel safe talking about them too. But do we ask about theirs as well? Because a one-way street typically pisses a bunch of us off, right? When you see the street that you need to be on, but you can't get there because there's 3 one-way streets on the way, so you got to go down and go down and go down until you can finally turn. One-way streets are not fun. I don't know many drivers that see a one-way street and go, yes, my day is made. So, I feel like most of us see a one-way street and go, really? Come on. I can't just turn here? So, make sure your relationships go down both sides of the street. Make sure that you listen. Make sure that you learn. And a litmus test for you is every time you have a conversation with someone, tell me if you learned something new about them that day. If you haven't, well, then you need to try a little bit harder the next day. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. Be quick to listen and slow to speak.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees. And as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in '07, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I could tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you, and every single Friday, happy to bring you the top dog of the week, but I can't do that without Lily's help. Top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. So very happy to have the wonderful, wonderful Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding here with us and partnered with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. They're a tremendous place, wonderful, wonderful people led by Lorraine and Chad, and just the entire team at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. I can't thank them enough for the work that they do to take care of our dogs and just, give us peace of mind. And that's really what it comes down to, right? Nobody likes to drop their dog off. If you really love your dog, you're like, man, can I trust this person? Because it is. I mean,
they're part of your family. They're your kids. And when you drop them off, you're like, do I know this person's going to take care of them? Do I trust that they know what they're going to do? You know, are they going to remember to give them this? Are they going to remember that they like that? Are they going to be safe? And that peace of mind comes from Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, in my opinion. In my opinion, that peace of mind comes from working with them. They've taken great care of Lily. They've been so very good to her. And I can't thank them enough for the work that they've done. And that's why I'm so proud to be partnered with them, because there's nowhere else that I would tell you to bring your dog. They're in East Syracuse. If you go to Canine Camp Dog Daycare, all you have to do is go to 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, across from the BJ's, right off the highway. Very, very easy to get to. You can get more information by calling 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. And you can also go to k-9kamp.com. That's k-9kamp.com. And for Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, for longer term care for your furry loving friend, all you have to do is you can go over to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse. It's right down the road from the dog daycare, Canine Camp Dog Daycare. So you can go and see them there. And you can also call 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013 to get your dog a cabin if they're going to be staying there for a few days. If they're going to be staying overnight. And of course, you can also go to kampground.com. So make sure that you do that. My top dog of the week this week, you know, it's got to be my mom. It's got to be my mom. You know, I've had a lot of conversations about my mom, and I know I've given her this top dog of the week before, but it's got to be Mom. You know, she took my grandmother's house, and my grandmother's house, like when you pull up on the outside, you're like, I'm going to grandma's. I'm going to see grandma and grandpa. And I still feel that way as a 39-year-old. I still feel connected to those memories of my grandparents. And then on the inside of the house, my mom has completely made it her own. And so she has this like beautiful dance of helping me feel like I'm always connected to my grandma and grandpa, while also creating her own beautiful home. And her home is always warm. And it's funny because I was describing my mom's home yesterday, and I said, it's a place where you want to go and you want to eat dinner and you want to just have good food and talk at the table and laugh and just appreciate each other and pray together. And then you want to go into the living room and you want to curl up and watch a movie and have some hot chocolate. That's the atmosphere that my mom creates. And she's done it so flawlessly. She did it with my house growing up. She does it with that house now. And I mean, it really just says something about the person, because it's not the home that makes the person. It's the person that makes the home. And I'm a firm believer in that. You know, I'm very grateful to God that I have a home. And I'm very grateful to God that I can afford it. And I'm happy that Lily's happy. But it's funny because like when you talk to me about it, I'm like, I could live anywhere. Because it's about those who make the home a home. The home doesn't make the person makes the home. And there's no better definition of that than my mom. And, you know, Halloween last night, passing out candy with her and seeing all these kids and, you know, being around them and having my dog be there. Like, there was no better way to spend Halloween. It was just a lot of fun. And going out to that front door and giving away that candy, I felt closer to the moment where, like, I'm going to be that. Like, I could see myself outside as that dad that's dressed up and my kid's dressed up. And I'm like, all right, go to the front door. Make sure you say thank you. And I just look forward to those moments. My mom gave me such a special life growing up. And she continues to give that to me today. And I feel like we should really honor our mothers and fathers that do these things the way that they do them. And, you know, I love my mom and I love my dad very, very much. You know, for the people that are saying, why you talk about your mom right now? And because I love them both dearly and I appreciate my relationships with them, I just wanted to make note of my mom, because my mom, she always tries to help everyone. And then she'll just kind of sit there. Like, I don't think my mom goes a day where she doesn't have a friend call her that needs help, that needs advice, that wants to cry to someone, that wants to yell, that wants to scream, that wants to tell them something. My mom's phone goes off all day long. And there's always somebody that wants to talk to her. There's somebody that wants to hear her advice. I go to her every day. And so I just want to tell my mom today, as my top dog of the week, that you can come to me. And, you know, you take on everybody's burdens, you take on everybody's troubles, you take on everybody's tough moments. But you need to know that someone can be there to guide you and guard you and be there for you. Someone can help you with your burdens. You know, and my mom, I wonder sometimes why she's so stressed, or she's depressed, or she's down. And it could be because so many people put their worries on her, and that can be heavy. You know, it can be heavy if I put something on her, or somebody puts something on her. So, Ma, I just want to let you know that I'm here to lighten the load. I'm here to help you, and I'm here to say thank you that at 39 years old, you still make me feel home, safe, and that you have taught me that it is those inside the home that make the home and not the home that makes the people. No matter the size or the location, it's the people and the animals in that house that make it a home. And I see it, and I value it, and I thank you for making my life really, really awesome to this day. I love you dearly. And so does Lily. This has been the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. We'll be back after this fast break, a very quick fast break, for our Navy Midshipman Special. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student-athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
Welcome here to a very special conversation on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. featuring the Navy midshipmen and their head football coach, Brian Newberry, who is no stranger to the broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So if you're watching us from Annapolis, Maryland, or anywhere around the country and the world, we appreciate your support of the United States Navy. With that being said, Coach, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me back on. Good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a minute. You know, you and I usually we get to talk a lot, but I feel like I have to ask you, Coach, have you missed me? So,
Of course, I have. It's been too long, man. I wonder what the holdup is.
I know it's been a minute. So I talked to Scott to try to make sure we got some time here over the last few weeks, and I know that your team started out and with an undefeated record and got yourselves to 6-0 before this past game, and got yourself in the top 25. I know that rankings aren't everything, but did you feel like you had gotten to a point before 6-0 that it was like, okay, you know, we should be at least be in the bottom part of the top 25?
To be honest with you, I really didn't even think about it. And I was actually surprised when we were a little bit. I thought it'd take a couple more games to get to that point. I think big win over Memphis. It was a ranked team early in the year. Certainly helped. Yeah. And you look at some of the other teams we beat. The records weren't great, but we beat those teams pretty convincingly. So, I don't really concern myself with it. I think it's good recognition for our school and our program, and helps in recruiting and all those kind of things. But really hadn't thought about it before it happened.
So when you get to that point, I mean, did you see something with the fan base and with the support? I mean, does it hold any value to be inside of the top 25, or do you, as the United States Navy, kind of shrug your shoulders and say, whatever they think about us out there, like, we know who we are in here?
No, I think it certainly creates some excitement and some buzz, in the community. And the thing we talk about around here is we want to be relevant in the landscape of college football. We want to be in the conversation. We want to be significant, and that's a little bit of validation for that. I think being 6-0, was some validation for that, as well. And that, as much as the ranking, probably created some excitement, some buzz.
So bring me into the Notre Dame game and just what your takeaways were from this matchup, and going up against a storied program that obviously plays the military academies, and just what your overall thoughts are after watching the film and after kind of going through it.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in the outcome. And it's one thing to lose a game to a really good team, but felt like, we didn't play well. You turned the ball over 6 times. 5 of those are unforced turnovers, and you're not going to beat many people, especially a team like Notre Dame. So just disappointed that we didn't put our best foot forward. We're super excited about the opportunity, as we are every year. Players believe we could go win that game. I did too. And I think if you don't turn the ball over 6 times, it may be a different story. Maybe we don't win that game. I don't know, but it sure as heck could be a lot closer than it was. And so you're upset that you didn't put your best foot forward, on a stage like that. And it's a tremendous opportunity. You felt like we kind of let it slip through our hands. But there's some good takeaway from it, as well. You pull up the film, obviously you got to point out the things that you got to fix and get better at. There's also some bright spots. When we do things the way we're supposed to do, you feel like we can play with anybody. And you saw evidence of that, despite the score and what it looked like, if you just looked up the score. But there's some good things to take away from it. I think sometimes you have to have a setback, to take a big step forward, and sometimes when you're winning games, we have a saying right here that, winning minimizes things and mistakes, and losing maximizes them, and so you try to take the approach when you're winning games to kind of maximize or magnify those mistakes that you're making to get them fixed, knowing that when you play better people, they'll get you beat. But like I said, sometimes you take a step back, take a big step forward, and hopefully, I think of our team and our mindset and the senior leadership, it's a group that's going to respond in a positive way, and I hope moving forward we'll be better for having had that experience.
What was the immediate locker room reaction when you talk about that leadership? How did you see the guys react in kind of the immediate?
Yeah, disappointed. I think they kind of felt the same way that I did. Disappointed, know that we didn't put our best foot forward, and that's all we talk about around here is being at our best. And the message before the game was be at your best when your best is needed, and we certainly were not that on Saturday. And when you're playing a team like Notre Dame, who's really good, if you're not that, then you're not going to have a chance to win those types of games. And our guys know that, and I don't think it's a humbling experience to get beat like that. But I don't think it took away from the confidence we have in our football team. And certainly, all of our goals are out in front of us still. We're 6-1. We've had a good year. You got to kind of look at that as a bump in the road, and what can you take away from it that's going to make you better moving forward?
Well, I mean, you're undefeated inside of the American Athletic Conference. And so, when you look at that pillar that you have currently right now, I mean, you have the Army-Navy game every year, but you also have an opportunity, if you stay the course and do what needs to be done from here forward, you have the opportunity within the American to play and host the AAC championship game. And that has to obviously be something in the minds of your student athletes and with you and your coaching staff, that within the conference, there is a very real opportunity in front of you.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's a goal of ours at the beginning of the year, and don't talk about it a ton. We obviously want to focus on the task at hand and just take it one game at a time. But it's nice to know that all that is out there in front of you. If you take care of business, week to week, and I think our team's done a really good job of having that 1-0 mentality, that we talk about. It's a little coach speak, but our kids have bought into that. And I've been really good about that, up to this point, and I think they'll continue to do that. And got a very good Rice team, going on the road. They're a scary football team. Played Tulane really well a couple weeks ago. Had a chance to win that game, and lost a close one to UConn, who's a really talented football team last week. So and they've had the coaching change, and when these coaching changes happen in the middle of the year or a bit later in the year, my observation is that those teams play some inspired football following that. And so, I think we're going to get their best shot. They got nothing to lose, and I'm sure we're going to see some new wrinkles and things like that. So we're going to have to play really, really well this week, and that's our focus right now, knowing that we have to take care of business, one game at a time, and the rest of them are all tough games. And we're going to have to play really well to have a chance to win, this weekend.
What is it about Navy? Because, I mean, I've covered this program for over a decade, and, before you, Kenny Matalolo, he brings you in as a coordinator. They had immediate success, kind of built up to this really strong success in the American, and then it dipped off, it died off. There was different defensive coordinators that came in, you came in, and there was this adversity. And now the American, through its, kind of new look with the 6 schools that came in and whatnot, we're seeing Navy rise back up again. How has Navy swung the pendulum back in their favor? Because you've seen the tumultuous times, you've seen the adversity. How did we get back here?
Yeah, I can't really speak to the time before, I got here. My first year was 19, and that was a pretty epic season for us. And then we had COVID hit, in the spring of 20, and that affected our program pretty drastically in a lot of different ways. I think we're coming out of that cycle now. We're out of the COVID year, free years for certain players, and we didn't turn players back like the other 2 academies did. We didn't give guys extra years during that period. So we were a young football team. Lost a lot of players during COVID here and at the prep school, and so it certainly affected us. And I think we're coming out of that cycle now. I think the biggest reason for our success this year is the evolution of our offense, and the emergence of Blake Horvath playing really, really well. The job that Drew Cronick and the offensive staff have done, creating this new offensive system that's unique and different, and a lot of good players in the system. And so we're having success in our offense, and we're first time in a while, scoring points on a consistent basis. And so I think that's a big part of the success, obviously. And there's a lot of things that I can point to that kind of led us up to this point, over the last 2 years since I got the job. And I think Jim Carizzi and our strength and conditioning staff have been phenomenal. You look at us, we're faster. We look more athletic, we're bigger, we're stronger. Doing a better job of developing our players at the prep school. We're doing a little better job in recruiting. I think the portal is helping us in a lot of ways because high school players aren't getting as many opportunities, and so we're finding that we're able to recruit a higher caliber high school player. We're able to be a little more selective about the guys that we're taking. So there's a lot of things you can point to, certainly.
Yeah, and like you said, you're being selective about the people that you're taking, and obviously there's another element to it in serving in the United States Naval Academy. But with this evolution and in your recruiting, what has maybe changed, or when you look at that evolution, what is the evolution of the recruiting strategy and the tactics? I mean, some of those things of who you're bringing in, and like you said, you want to be relevant in the college football landscape, but you also have this Naval Academy element. So what have you done to create the current recruiting element that you have now, that angle that you have now?
Just placing the appropriate importance on recruiting, and it's the lifeblood of your program. And I feel like we needed to work harder at it. And we've got to recruit nationally to find to fill a roster here, to find players that can get into school here and that fit the profile that we're looking for. And I think we've a lot more clear about what we're looking for at each position. From a measurable type deal to the intangibles. I think we're on the same page in regards to those things. We've added to our recruiting department. Just anything that we can do to evolve that, make it more efficient. I think we're working harder at it, and I think that the times have helped us a little bit as well.
A final note from you, Coach. You and I have talked about the Naval Academy. My great uncle Carmen, who's in heaven now, proudly served in the Naval Academy in multiple wars. My grandpa Cavino was in World War II in the United States Navy, so I know how much it's meant to them and how much it's meant to our family. What can you say about, at a time in this country where there's a lot of disconnect and there's a lot of kind of divide and whatnot, I look to what the Navy does, and I look to what it stands for and what it's meant to my family, and I look to that flag and I see something special. What do you want to say about the United States Naval Academy and what goes beyond football?
Yeah, I think that the opportunity to work here and be around the men and women that come to school here is a great privilege, and it gives you some kind of an insider's view of the kind of young men and women that are going to serve our country and be leaders in our military, and just it makes you grateful. It's a great source of patriotism. Just working with these young men and women on a daily basis is an honor and a privilege. And not only that, but to meet superintendent, the commandant. These are wonderful people. Just a reminder every day how fortunate we are to have young men and women, here at the academy. They're going to serve our country, protect our country, and that makes you more grateful for those that are currently serving and for our veterans. And it just gives you a whole different, perspective when you're working in an academy for those things.
So have we seen, in your opinion, when we go back to football here, have we seen the best the midshipmen have to offer yet?
No, I don't think so. I think we're still a work in progress. I think we haven't reached our ceiling. I think certainly we've done some really good things in the offense side of football. I don't think we've played a great game defensively yet. And we've been pretty good on defense around here for several years. So we got to get to our standard on that side of the football. And I think we're going to keep getting better.
That comment from Brian Newberry, the head coach of the Navy Midshipmen's football program. Brian, as always, I appreciate your time, and I'm hoping the best for you and the team, and I'm always watching.
Thanks, Dan. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, sir. I'll talk with you soon.
All right.
Hi, This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvelanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. There is no better place, in my opinion, because the attention to detail, the care, the appreciation for the sports card and trading card world, the fact that the people that run the store, Josh and Anthony, care so much about the product, and they open the product, and they're big kids, and they still collect to this day, and they buy, sell, and trade themselves. You know, to me, when you're selling something, you got to believe in it, and they love that world. And I love that they love that world because that passion and that hard work and everything they put into it, it shines through. I see it all the time. So I want to give a big time shout out to GG Cards and Breaks for being the difference and being a place that I love to call home when I'm going to look for sports cards and trading cards, whether I'm looking for packs and boxes or if I want to go to the back wall and find my favorite MLB, NFL, and NBA teams and take those cards home, go get some Raptors cards and Diamondbacks and Jaguars and whatnot. And of course, their singles and their graded cards as well. I've gotten so many different things at GG Cards and Breaks. I just did a box break last night from one of the boxes I got from them this week. And you can go and check that out on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT. And it's going to be added to YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT today. So you'll be able to see it on YouTube as well. We have a YouTube. Inside of our YouTube channel, you can click on our playlist for card breaks, and all of those are brought to you by GG Cards and Breaks. So you can check that out today. Always love going over there. 639 Delmar Place, Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said here on the show, I just want to thank y'all for being here. It means a lot to me. So I hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day. I hope you're having fun. Hope you're relaxing and enjoying it. And I do want to give a shout out. I know Mike said something here about Bryce Mills' fight this weekend. So yeah, Bryce has got a fight this weekend. Bryce and I talked about this fight a while ago. So he's got a fight going on this weekend, and I want to just make a note of it.
and let you know what's going on here. So it's Mills versus Ohan Jr. It's in Verona, New York, and that is going to be November 2nd. So that fight's going on November 2nd. The hometown hero, so very excited for that. And so really, really excited to see this. It's going to be at Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona this Saturday, November 2nd. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, which is awesome. So very much looking forward to that and looking forward to seeing this come to fruition. And, of course, Bryce and I will be talking, I'm sure. So very much looking forward to that. Thank you, Mike, for shooting over the message and giving a little reminder here of what's coming up with Bryce Mills, who is a little brother to me. So always happy to see him out there doing his thing and succeeding and doing it with God and family. So much love, Bryce. You know that as always, and much appreciation to you, brother, and hope you're doing well. So before we hop out of here, I do want to go to college football for a second and just kind of touch on some of these things and take a look at what is going on here. SMU's quarterback Jennings was cleared to face off against Pitt. I want to make a note of that. Kevin Jennings cleared to play, so he's been medically cleared to face off against Pittsburgh. Both teams are ranked in the nation's top 20. Pittsburgh's 7-0. SMU is 7-1 this season. Now, Jennings has been described as being among a, quote, bunch of beat-up guys, end quote, by head coach Rhett Lashley, who's a friend of mine. Was listed as questionable heading into the game. His injury was not disclosed. He required medical clearance to play this Saturday night, and the clearance has come, according to Rhett Lashley. Jennings is 5-0 as a starter this season. He's 6-1 in his career as a starter overall. He's thrown for 1,594 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions this season. He completed 21 of 27 passes in a victory on the road over Louisville in Kentucky, threw for 322 yards in a win at Stanford. He also ran for 300, has also run this season for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, and then Pitt's Eli Holstein, who was originally at Alabama, and I think he redshirted last year, he was cleared late in the week, and that's according to head coach of Pitt, Pat Narduzzi. Both teams are undefeated in the ACC. SMU's in their first season in the ACC. They're 4-0. Pitt is 3-0 in the ACC. And, I mean, this is incredible. Pitt is 7-0 for the first time since 1982. And SMU's only loss came to the undefeated BYU in a game where both teams struggled to score. And it was very low scoring. I think it was like 15-12. I think it was 18-15. If my memory serves me correctly, I think it was 18-15. Yeah, it was 18-15. There you go. So, thank you, God, for a good memory. May we all have one. May we all keep it. God bless. So, and by the way, in that prayer, may we have an end to Alzheimer's and dementia. My Gammy Miller had Alzheimer's. My G-Mama had dementia. Let's see an end to that. Let's see a cure for that, God, in Jesus' most precious name, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Getting back to this game, so in ACC play, SMU's offense is third in scoring with 36 points per game, and the Mustangs rank third with 477.3 yards per game in the league, or per game inside of the ACC. In their 4 games in the ACC, they're averaging almost 500 yards a game in the ACC. So, pretty amazing. I told y'all to watch out for SMU. I told you that Rhett Lashley and this team are for real, and they might be a threat to the ACC, despite the fact that it's only their first season in the ACC, and they've been absolutely that. And I'm really proud of them, and I'm happy for them. By the way, the Jets beating the Texans last night. I didn't think that this was going to happen. And they won by the score of my number and my grandfather's number, 21-13, 2-13. So, Grandpa, I love that message here this morning from you and God. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're dancing with G up in heaven. God bless to you both. this game between the Texans and the Jets. The Texans started scoring at MetLife Stadium for the Jets home game. With the Texans on the road, nobody scored in the first quarter of the game. In the second quarter, Joe Mixon had a 3-yard touchdown run, made it 7-0 at halftime. Then in the third quarter, with 9:03 left to go, Garrett Wilson responded for the Jets on a 21-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers. Riley Patterson kicked the field goal. Who's Riley Patterson? A friend of mine. Who's Riley Patterson? The kicker I covered from the University of Memphis, who also went to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who helped them on their really awesome, the last time they had a really good season. So Riley P. doing his thing for the Jets now. Much love to him, and I'm happy the Jets gave him an opportunity. I'm happy anybody gave him an opportunity because I just want to see him in the NFL doing what he loves and loving what he does, and he keeps God first, and that means a lot to me. So God bless you to Riley. And so they tied the game 7-7. Then Fairbairn hit a 54-yard field goal to make it 10-7 to take the lead at the end of the third quarter. So the Texans led. Nobody had a score in the first quarter. The Texans led at the end of the second quarter. The Texans led at the end of the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, back-to-back touchdowns that came about 10 minutes apart. Garrett Wilson got his second touchdown of the day. 26-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers gave them the lead, 14-10 over the Texans. And then Devontae Adams, in his second game since rejoining Aaron Rodgers, this time on the Jets after being with him on the Packers, and then spending some time in between on the Raiders. Devontae Adams on a 37-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers made it 21-10, and then Fairbairn kicked a 29-yard field goal to make it 21-13 with 39 seconds left, but ultimately the Jets got the win. A much-needed win. The Jets are 3-6 overall, 2-2 at home. The Texans now have a losing record on the road, 2-3, and they are 6-3 on the season. So the Houston Texans here with a blunder, and the Jets with a big win, as the Jets are in second place in the AFC East behind the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots are 2-6, and so they're last. Miami's in third in the AFC East at 2-5, and Miami will play the Bills. And nothing is for sure. There's no sure things. I have picked the Bills to win this game. I do think that Tua is a threat, but if Buffalo wins, that's going to create more separation and help out the Jets even more and put the Bills at 7-2 and put them in very good footing, with the team closest to them having 4 less wins in the division. Well, 4 less wins overall. So if the Bills become 7-2, the Jets closest to them will be 3-6. And so in that world, and the Patriots could win and they could be 3-6, and then they have the tiebreaker over the Jets, so they would actually jump to 2, but that would still put the closest team in the AFC East to the Bills being 4 wins behind them. The Houston Texans are 6-3 now. The Colts are 4-4. The Jaguars are 2-6, and the Titans are 1-6. So Houston, Indy's a little bit closer, but Houston's beaten Indianapolis in the 2 games they played against each other, so they own the tiebreaker outright against the Colts. If the Colts play well under Joe Flacco and they get even closer, Houston has that tiebreaker over them. And then Jacksonville has just been a haphazard team, and Tennessee has been awful. So we'll see how it goes from here. But that's Thursday night football for you. There's some other things that happen in the Thursday night schedule in college football. And so taking a look at that and where things sit at, there was only one game last night. There were 2 games on Wednesday, so let me hit those. Jacksonville State beat Liberty 31-21. And I actually mentioned this with Papa Joe last night. Western Kentucky, or yesterday morning, I should say. Western Kentucky beat Kennesaw State 31-14. And Tulane last night on Halloween, the only game played on Halloween was played in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the Charlotte 49ers in division against the Tulane Green Wave lost to Tulane 34-3. So taking a look at the standings right now by the conferences, in the American Athletic, Army is in first, followed by Tulane and Navy, who are the only undefeated conference teams in the American Athletic. Army is 6-0 in the conference. Tulane is 5-0. Navy is 4-0. Memphis is 3-1. You heard Brian Newberry talk about that win against Memphis, which is their only loss is to the Navy midshipmen. North Texas and East Carolina are 2-2. East Carolina got rid of their head coach, Mike Houston, which is sad. I've gotten to know Mike over many years, and I appreciate him and respect our relationship very much on and off the field. So God bless to Mike and his family and finding his footing and what his next chapter is going to be, which I hope is the best one yet. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So God bless to him for that. UAB has not won a game in the conference. They're 0-4. FAU has not either. They're 0-3. UTSA is 1-3 in the conference. Rice is 1-3. Tulsa's 1-3. Temple's 1-3. South Florida is 1-2 in the American. When we take a look at the ACC, Clemson is undefeated at 5-0 in the conference. Miami and SMU are undefeated at 4-0, and Pittsburgh's undefeated in the ACC at 3-0. Every team except for California has a win in the conference. Cal in their first season in the ACC, 0-4. Florida State is 1-6 in the conference. Stanford is 1-4 in their first season in the conference. North Carolina, NC State, and BC are 1-3. And then you got a bunch of teams that have won a few games there. Syracuse, my hometown, is 2-2 in the conference. In the Big 12, BYU is 5-0 in their second season as a member of the Big 12 after being independent in football. Iowa State is 4-0. Nobody else is undefeated in the Big 12. Oklahoma State has not won a Big 12 game this year. They are 0-5. And Colorado coming back to the Big 12. Dion's got the team at 4-1, which is huge. And then Arizona in their first season in the Big 12 is 1-4. Utah in their first season in the Big 12 is 1-4. And I want to make sure I don't miss anybody else here that has joined. And Arizona State is 2-2 in their first season in the Big 12. In the Big 10, your undefeateds are Indiana at 5-0, Oregon at 5-0, Oregon in their first season in the Big 10. Penn State is 4-0. Ohio State, is 3-1. The only team that has not won a game in the Big 10 this season, currently Purdue at 0-4, and UCLA in their first season in the Big 10 from the Pac-12, they are 1-4. USC in their first season in the Big 10 is 2-4. Washington in their first season in the Big 10 is 2-3. So the team that is faring the best in their first season in the Big 10, the Oregon Ducks, who are ranked number 1 in the nation right now. In Conference USA, the undefeateds are Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State, who both won on Wednesday night. They're 4-0. Nobody is winless in the conference. UTEP and New Mexico State have the worst winning record, or have the worst record in the conference of Conference USA. They're 1-4. Sam Houston is 4-1. They just lost recently. Your independents are Notre Dame, UConn, and UMass. Notre Dame is 7-1. UConn is 5-3. And looking like they're going back to a bowl game with Jim Mora Jr. for the 2 seasons he's been there, that they'll be in a bowl game for those 2 seasons. And UMass is 2-6. UMass is going to be joining a conference, though, coming up here, I believe, next season. In the Mid-American Conference, the MAC, Western Michigan is the only undefeated team at 4-0. The only totally defeated team in the conference is Kent State at 0-4. And in the Mountain West, the undefeated Boise State 3-0, Colorado State 3-0, San Diego State 2-0, and the teams without a win inside of the Mountain West right now are Air Force at 0-4 and Nevada at 0-3. The Pac-12, believe it or not, folks, is still considered a conference right now with 2 teams. And so how about this? There's more independent schools than there are teams in a conference. The Pac-12 has 2 teams and there's 3 independents. That's insane. But the Pac-12, they're not considered a conference even though they're considered a conference. So it's just weird. It's Washington State and Oregon State. They have a deal with the Mountain West right now, which kind of sort of potentially turned into the poaching of the Mountain West. I mean, in my opinion, I think bonding with the Mountain West, they have used to go there and poach, and they have absolutely poached the Mountain West, which is sad for the Mountain West, and the Pac-12 is trying to become a thing now. But the Pac-12 approached the American Athletic, and the American Athletic turned them down. The schools within the American Athletic, I should say, not the conference itself. In the SEC, the undefeated Texas A&M 5-0. Nobody else in the SEC is undefeated. Georgia's 4-1. Texas in their first season in the SEC is 3-1. Tennessee's 3-1. LSU's 3-1. Alabama's 3-2. Vanderbilt's 2-2, including with a win over Alabama. The Gators of Florida are 2-2. The only totally defeated in the SEC, Mississippi State Bulldogs, are 0-5. Oklahoma in their first season in the SEC come in with Texas from the Big 12. Oklahoma is 1-4. In the Sun Belt, which still has divisions, nobody else has divisions? No, because the MAC got rid of their divisions. So there's only one conference with divisions in FBS Division 1A football, and that's the Sun Belt. In the East, Old Dominion is 3-1, followed by Georgia Southern, who's 3-1 in the conference. Louisiana in the West is 4-0. Arkansas State's 3-1. South Alabama and University of Louisiana Monroe is 3-1. So there's only one undefeated team in all of the Sun Belt, and it's in the West Division, and that's the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns at 4-0. The teams that haven't won a game in the conference so far, Georgia State, as well as Southern Miss and Troy, are all 0-4 in the Sun Belt. So that's how it looks around the country when we're taking a look at college football in over 130 schools. I want to thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, live Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, once you find Wake Up Call live, you can also find us in the archives, and you can watch and listen to us all over the place. So your listening pleasure will be on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And of course, I want to thank all of our wonderful partners, the Brooklyn Pickle down in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Big shout out to the Brooklyn Pickle, the BP. We know what it is up in Central New York. They're getting to know what it is in North Carolina. So I implore you, if you're in the Southern Pines area, to go to visit Brooklyn Pickle on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Let them know that DT sent you, and we appreciate it. God is good. Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servo-Mation, Mother's Cupboard, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Avicoli's, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse. Gigi Cards and Breaks at 639 Delmar Place in East Syracuse. I was thinking about Gigi's to mention next. Ma and Pa's is on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. That's 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Gigi Cards and Breaks, Fire Pit, Barbecue, and Saloon, and of course, Brian's Landing. And we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins Wednesdays during Dolphin Time, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You will find your Dolphins weekly with stories from student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni throughout the year, including our one-on-one conversation that you won't find like this anywhere else with Phil Brown, the new leader of the athletic department, specifically known as the Assistant VP of Intercollegiate Athletics and Campus Recreation, who will officially start his job as the leader of athletics at Lemoyne College on the Heights on January 1st, 2025. You can find that and so much more by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Lemoyne playlist. The Dolphins are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com and Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats in the Bobcat Buzz every single month with men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, as well as baseball and esports. You will find your Bobcats by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find the Bobcat Buzz and everything about the Bobcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and stay tuned for what's coming up with the Bobcats this week. Go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single week on Wake Up Call, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, which we call Bearcat Time. Featuring Moments with Marshall throughout the year with Gene Marshall, the Binghamton University Athletics Director, and the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories of their journey to Binghamton and everything that they've done there and beyond. Binghamton University Bearcats can be found on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist. You can also find your Bearcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab on the website as well. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on the show, I want to thank the annoying moment of the week. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt. I want to thank Chick-fil-A Cicero for Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. We had an all-new episode brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero of The Light Between Us air with Brianna, the Director of Talent at Chick-fil-A Cicero. Find that on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt. And, of course, you can find another new episode of The Light Between Us coming up very soon as well, featuring Jez Lugo. So looking forward to sharing that with you. Top Dog of the Week, honoring my mom, thanks to Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding in East Syracuse for taking care of our dogs. If you would like your dog to have some daycare where they could feel safe and you can feel at peace, call 315-437-7110. And if you would like the Kampground Dog Boarding, if you're going to have your dog there overnight, call 315-299-4013. Big time thanks to Brian Newberry. Thanks to Scott and everybody over at Navy, the U.S. Naval Academy. Thank you for our connection. Brian Newberry and I have a great relationship on and off the air. So as always, Brian, appreciate talking with you and spending time with you. So God bless to you and the Navy midshipmen as you continue to move forward. And thank you to Scott and everybody over there at Navy. Much love, much respect. And I'm a very proud grandson of a Navy member of World War II inside the United States Navy. And if you can see it, it says T.A. Cavino there for my Papa Cavino. So that is right here, right off screen, and I'm always looking at it. So shout out to the Navy and God bless to the Navy and to Brian Newberry and the midshipmen this week and every week. So much appreciation and much respect. With that being said, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. You can find us on wakeupcalldt.com. I feel like the show just got started. I'm like looking at the clock going, how am I saying see you later to everybody? I feel like I just got on the air. But I hope you all have a great day. Live your dreams, chase your dreams, go after the things you love in your life. Don't be afraid to love, don't be afraid to try, and don't be afraid to go after what you truly want. God bless, no stress, do your best.